Ladies and gentlemen, here is how I scaled a fitness community to over 150K per month in added LTV using the same framework that I'm about to share with you with Skool, how to actually use that to scale. Okay. The same exact strategy that made my client over 150K per month added every month in lifetime value also allowed me to run and scale to 50K a month. Mind you, this is in Canadian, so this is about like maybe high 30s in US dollars. Okay. So if you stick with me for the next little bit, if you stick around for this is probably going to be an hour and a half long video. I don't know because I'm just starting it right now. But if you stick around for this video and actually pay attention, you're going to get some value. You're going to get a lot of insights on kind of everything that I know regarding how to use and leverage yourself with fitness communities. Should you even do fitness communities? Is this something that like you should even entertain because there's a lot of noise out there? How do you approach this, etc.? I'm going to share with you my step-by-step process that allowed me to do so and get to 150K per month. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a warning here. If you cannot spend, the 2 hours with me here, hour and a half with me here, and learn the boring systems and processes, I'm sorry, but you will never be successful. I'm just going to put that out there right now. Okay. If you can't sit and just look at the screen, you're not even doing, it's very passive. You're taking some notes, you're looking and watching. If you can't do that with me for an hour and a half, click off the video right now, because a lot of people that watch my videos and they'll be like, oh my God, this is so boring. No shit, it's boring. This is business content. Business is not supposed to be like this, like crazy, fucking fun thing all the time. There's going to be boring parts to the business. Okay. And this is going to be one of those videos. So buckle up. Okay. So number one, turn off your phone, out of sight, out of mind, get it away from you. Get it away from you. Number two, close all your tabs. Have this one tab open, right? Full screen. So a lot of the times what people will do is they'll do like the half screen on YouTube, and then they'll see a video. Oh my God, that looks attractive. They'll scroll and then gone. Okay. Three, quiet space. So people like to work in like cafes and stuff like that. There's a time for being social. There's a time to go out and be around people. And this is not the time. This is a time to just be alone and just work on something. Okay. Why does socializing and business have to be together? They don't. You can socialize on weekends and make a specific time for that. It doesn't have to be included within business. Okay. And then number four, take some notes. So jot down some things that stick with you. I'm also going to give you access to this full document. So this is like a 15 page document. It's very dense. So take notes. I'm going to give you access to this as well. But taking personal notes is going to be effective. Okay. So if you cannot follow these steps, these 4 simple steps, which are really simple, okay, you're going to pretty much do it. You're doing a disservice to yourself and your time, and you owe it to yourself to be great. You owe it to yourself to actually make something out of, the reason why you're watching this video. Maybe you already have a business. Maybe you're wanting to start one. Okay. You owe it to yourself. Okay. And you have to use your time to actually get there. Okay. Cool. So before I jump into the specific breakdown of like, how to scale with Skool, like what's the entire process, like a lot of people don't really know what Skool is. Okay. So maybe you've seen Alex Hormozzi's ads. He's been posting a crap ton of ads literally everywhere about the Skool games, that sort of stuff. He's promoting that. And maybe you follow Sam Ovens. That's kind of how I got introduced to Skool. I was early introduced to Skool about a year and a half ago with Sam Ovens. I kept up with his content on YouTube. But like what kind of is Skool? Okay. So Skool is a community-based platform, almost like a Facebook community. So it's pretty much designed to have like a section to put your recordings, course materials, etc., a calendar for events, calls, etc., chats and forums, and then like a game element. So when Facebook first started, what they did is they just literally made something like Skool. So they were just doing stuff like this where you just had a community, and it would be like university communities, reading clubs, stuff like that. So Skool's kind of like a modern Facebook when Facebook was in like early whenever 2010, something like that, when it first started. And yeah, right. So Skool is this it's basically a social media where it allows creators and it allows people, marketers, any sort of people who provide some sort of digital product, digital service, to pretty much take everything they have, put it in one place in a community for people to use and then connect with other people who are also using it. Okay. So it's an interactive social media platform designed for business people looking to provide value. Okay. It's not super complex. It's very straightforward. I'm sure you guys probably already know what Skool is. Okay. And this is a big question as well. Like, okay, we know what Skool is. Maybe there's a few people online saying, oh, do Skool, don't do Skool. Skool's a waste of time. Skool's this, whatever. Okay. But like, should we use Skool? Is this even something that's viable? Okay. Because there's a lot of things going on. Like even with AI, for example, I get pitched all the time. Hey, why haven't you implemented AI in your business yet? Why haven't you implemented AI in your business yet? It's like, brother, I don't need AI in my business yet. I don't need it right now. Maybe in a year when it gets better, sure. But I don't need ChatGPT to write my copy because I have tons of copy that is really good. And what's ChatGPT going to do? Like, it's not going to help me that much. Okay. So do we even need Skool? That's what I'm saying. And the way that I look at that is I look at the direction of the market. And this gives me a really good idea. If you can understand the market and you can understand what container you're in, because a market is a container that you're in. If you can understand that really good, everything else will make sense. Okay? So for example, if you can understand physics as a science, if you can understand physics, the laws of motion, physics as a whole, you will understand chemistry and biology because physics applies to both of those. Biology doesn't apply to physics, but physics applies to biology. Physics applies to chemistry. So like, it's the same with business. If you understand the market, your offer is going to metastasize. Your offer is going to make sense. Okay. Your access channel, your mechanism, how to market, operations, everything's going to make sense if you understand the market. Okay. So let's take a look at the market, just as fitness as a whole. Okay. So right now, we are experiencing the greatest level of competition the fitness industry has ever seen. Ever seen. Like after COVID, it is crazy. Everyone's online. It's just nuts. Okay? Prospects are much more educated and have plenty of choices to solve their problems. They literally have millions of options. They can do this. They can, like, not millions, thousands of options of what they can do. Okay, so I'm gonna play a little game with you here. Let's do a little visualization game. Okay, let's say that you're a middle-aged mother that wants to lose 30 pounds. Just pretend for a second, put yourself in the mindset. I'm a middle-aged mother. I'm 45, 50 years old. I have a few kids. I drive them to soccer. I work like a desk job. I do some like HR, boring job, whatever. Okay. And I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to look good, feel good. I want my kids to kind of respect me. I want my husband to look at me when like when we were younger, right? And I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay? You're not poor, but you're not rich. You have money and you're willing to spend it. You're not like super uptight about it. Okay? And let's say your name is Amy. So this is you. Your name is Amy. Okay? This is Amy. So you have a few options here. So number one, you can go to the gym. You can go to the gym and lift weights, exert energy, get a gym membership, buy a gym membership. Let's say you're spending like $100 a month on a gym membership. It's decent. It's not a shitty gym. It's decent, whatever. Okay. But you got to exert energy and effort to lose weight. Number two, you can follow a strict diet plan that leaves you feeling tired 24/7. And then you're going to have to give up your favorite foods. So no more pizza, no more ice cream, no more cheat meal. None of that. Okay? You follow a strict plan. That's number two. Number three, you can take an Ozempic shot one time weekly and just forget about it. That's it. Just Ozempic and then that's it. Okay? Number four, you can go to the doctor and get liposuction. So one time you go in, get some fat removed, bye-bye, done. Easy. Okay? Or number five, you can get your gallbladder removed. Okay? Get your gallbladder removed. This is a very common process for overweight people who are trying to lose weight. Okay? So let's say that these are some of your options. There's, of course, there are more options. But let's say these are your 5 options that are just like, top of mind. Okay? What is the option she's most likely to go with? What are the masses doing? Well, like what is she most likely to go with? Okay? And you can see which option she's most likely to go with what market is the largest. Okay? So, for example, if you take, um, what's a good example here? If you take Apple iPhones versus Samsung iPhones, Apple's market is bigger. They have a bigger market cap because they have more customers and more people buying their stuff, more people, more revenue, etc. Okay? So usually which company is bigger means more people are going towards that company. Okay? They're doing better overall. So in order to see what option she's most likely to go with, we can just look at what the masses are doing. Okay? So example 1, let's really look at this from an analytical point of view. Let's compare option 1 with option 5. Okay? So let's say number 1, go to the gym or get your gallbladder removed. We're just comparing apples to oranges here. Okay? Which one is she most likely to do? Okay? The gyms, the health club, the gym market size is 31 billion in 2023. 31 billion. Okay? The gallbladder market is 21 billion and expected to go to 32 billion in 2026. And it's the most common surgery in America. That's crazy to hear, okay? So it's 21 billion in 2019, estimated to grow to around 32 by 2026, 6.2 over the forecast period. Okay? This is gyms in 2023. This was massively shot down in 2021, okay? And I would bet that gallbladder treatments and this is only going to get more popular, and gyms and etc. are just going to get less popular. Okay? So if you compare apples to oranges here, long term, what is she most likely to go with? What are most people doing? Most people are going towards, and from actually like a growth standpoint, moving forward, having a gallbladder treatment is more common. Okay? Especially for people her age, gyms are filled with a lot of younger people. Okay? So, example 2. Let's take another example. Let's compare Ozempic or semaglutide to diet and nutrition. So 3, let's compare Ozempic. So she can either take an Ozempic shot or she can, follow a strict diet plan. 2 and 3, let's compare these two now. Okay. The injectable semaglutide market is 14 billion. 14 billion. It's a massive industry. It's a massive industry. Expected to grow at 11.3% between 2023 and 2032, which is nuts. It's crazy. It's a lot of money injected into that market. Okay. And then if you compare the nutrition and diet, like hiring a nutritionist and following a diet, the size of that market is around 657 million. Okay. It's not even $1 billion market. Okay. So if you compare what people are doing, people are most likely to go with option 3, just simply take a shot rather than follow a diet plan. Okay. So just comparing markets to markets here, this market is just bigger overall. People don't want to hire a nutritionist. People don't want to do that and pay someone for pain pretty much. Why would I pay you for pain? Why would I pay you for pain? Right? What's the point of that? Semaglutide, I just take a little shot. Okay. And then that's it. I take one shot once a week and that's it. This is constant pain all the time. And then I have to pay a nutritionist to inflict even more pain on me. Crazy. Okay? And then now let's compare big pharma to the nutrition market. So this is another example. So it's not really on here, but just comparing, for example, the pharmaceutical industry is responsible for the research, development, product distribution of medications. So this is a $1.48 trillion market, and that's 2022. And it's only growing. Okay? And then you look at the nutrition market. So this is supplements, coaching, etc. It's 358 billion. Okay. So these examples shock me. Okay. Because you can look at the gym market. You can look at I'm going to provide you an awesome program, and I'm going to give you this workout program. But at the end of the day, what are people doing? People aren't wanting to do those painful processes. People are wanting to just do something easy. Okay? People are wanting a pill, look at Big Pharma, a pill. Okay? Big Pharma's entire business model is so effective. Think about it. You have a problem. Instead of having to go through all this pain, I'm just going to make one pill that you take, and that's it. There's no service delivery. There's no check-ins. There's none of that. Just pay me for the pills. And that's it. Easy. Okay? Crazy. And then nutrition. Oh, you're going to have to take these supplements and you're going to have to, follow this diet plan with this nutrition. I'm okay. It's a lot of pain for me. So, and then you can see that that's resembled in the size of the markets. Big Pharma will always be bigger than the nutrition market, right? And there's a reason behind that. Okay, there's a reason behind why it's bigger, right? Because it is providing a more valuable solution, which is easier for people to do, okay? And I'm going to get into that. So no matter how good you are at sales, and this is a very big point, if you're going to remember one thing from this presentation, I want you to remember this about the fitness market as a whole. No matter how good you are at sales, no matter how cool your Instagram reels are, no matter how awesome your cold DMs are, no matter how nice your program is, it will not account for the fact of value. Why would I choose something harder? Why would I choose to do something harder for the exact same outcome? Why would I choose to go to the gym, exert myself, inflict pain on my body when I can just take a pill or take a shot once a week? Why would I do that? It's the same outcome. The outcome is losing weight, but I can just take a pill to do it rather than go to the gym. Okay, easy. And then look at the size of the market. Of course, it's a bigger market. Okay, so a lot of you guys are this. If you're watching this, I'm sure you're a fitness coach, you're a nutritionist, maybe you're a gym owner. Okay, the gym industry is decently large. It's not a small industry, but it's not a massive industry either. But you're getting crushed by the pharmaceutical industry. You're getting crushed by the nutrition industry. You're getting crushed by the supplement. The supplement space is a lot bigger than the gym industry. Okay, why is that? It's the same reason. Instead of having to go to the gym and exert yourself, just take a fucking supplement. Easy. Okay? So this should make you feel like some sort of way about like the market, etc. Okay? So like imagine this. Okay? Imagine I come to you and I say you can make $4,000 tomorrow. Tomorrow, hey, come to me. We're gonna make $4,000. Okay? But there's two ways, and you can pick which two ways you want to make the $4,000. The first way would be watching television and having sex. Okay, so that's the first way. All day. Tomorrow, you're just going to watch TV, watch a few movies, and just have sex with hot girls. Or hot guys if you're a girl. Okay? And then the second way would be you have to run an ultra marathon for 24 hours straight. 24 hours straight, and then you'll get the 4K after. Now, a lot of you may say, oh my God, I'm cool. I'm going to run the ultra marathon. I'm David Goggins, right? 99.9% of people are going to pick the pleasure route rather than the pain route. Okay. And there's a reason behind that. So what does this mean? What does this mean? Because everyone is choosing the easier thing. Okay. And that's resembled in the size of the market. People don't want hard. People want easy. People want value. So what this means is this. And Alex Hormozi summarized this perfectly with the value equation. So this is the value equation. If you don't know what the value equation is, pretty much what it is the value equation is the dream outcome. So what they want. So let's say for Amy, she wants to lose 50 pounds. Perceived likelihood of achievement. What are the odds that I can actually lose the weight with this solution? Is it high? Is it low? Whatever. Okay. Divided by the time delay. So let's say to lose that 50 pounds, it takes me 10 years. I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, fuck that. No, I'm okay. Okay. But now let's say to lose that 50 pounds, it takes me 2 months. Oh, okay. That's not horrible. Okay. And then this is a big one, effort and sacrifice. So a lot of people, like I said, like just kind of going up here with these markets, big pharma totally slashed the effort and sacrifice. The effort and sacrifice is literally zero. It's basically nothing. Okay. Gym industry, a lot of effort and sacrifice. Okay. So this should make you feel a little bit like, okay, that makes sense. Okay. But why does this exist? Because I like to, this is a fact. This is value. This equals value. But why does this equal value? Why? I like to go a little step deeper. Okay. And this is where we get into kind of my background personally. I was in medical school and I studied biology, evolution, all that sort of stuff, evolutionary psychology. And I honestly believe that if you understand the psychology of people, okay, that's going to also give you a really good grasp on the market. So we're going to dive into this. Like, why do people get value from this? Why does this equal value? Okay. So this is going to be a lesson on a little bit of biology. We're going to jump into a little bit of biology, a little bit of psychology as well. Okay. So number one, humans are massively selfish. If you didn't know this already, awesome. Now you know it. Humans are selfish, and they're always going to be selfish. And it's not you that's selfish. It's actually your genes that are selfish. Each of your genes are actually fighting for its own individual survival against one another. So like each of your cells within your body, they work together, but they don't work together. They're actually selfish, and they prioritize for themselves, their own selves individually. Okay? And when every cell in your body is fighting for itself, it works together. It's funny how that works. Okay? So our goal, no matter what we do, is to reproduce and pass on our genes. So this is just basic biology. And we do this in the most energy conserving way possible to have a possibility at future reproductive opportunities. Okay? So anything you do, any move you do, any sort of action you do is getting you closer in your mind to passing on your genes and doing it in the most energy conserving way possible. So then you have a higher likelihood of not running out of energy so that you can go on and pass your genes. Okay, because back in the savannah, 10,000, 20,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago, when we were running around hunter-gatherers, food was scarce. Okay, we had to preserve energy. Now there's energy everywhere, and food is super, like there's no shortage of food, except if you live maybe in a third world country. Okay, so people are just packing on fat. And our bodies are wanting to conserve energy and wanting to conserve this in form of fat to keep us alive. Okay, so all in all, our genes are extremely selfish. So it's actually not us, like ourselves, that want to pass on our genes. This is actually a very interesting fact that I learned from my mentor. It's not us that want to pass on our genes. It's the cells within our body sending signals via hormones that we need to. Okay, so like for example, when was the last time you woke up? Let's say you just like woke up one day and you're like, I want to go out and have sex, right? And you made that decision consciously. It doesn't happen, right? It's not like a decision you made. It's kind of just like a feeling. It's like, oh, you get that feeling? Okay. I want to go out and, meet a girl. I want to go out and meet a boy. Okay. It's not like a conscious decision where it's like, I choose to want to have a kid. It doesn't happen. I choose to want to go out and have sex. It doesn't happen. Okay. It's your body giving you that signal. Okay. So when someone is wanting to do something, okay, they will always find the way that brings them closer to reproduction in one way or another, which is usually the path of least resistance. Okay. So whatever I do, I'm doing to get me closer to reproduction. It's super twisted from like a conscious level. Oh yeah, reproduction. But think about this for a second. What is the point of me making this video here? Okay. I want to make this video because I want to provide value to you. And in turn, maybe a fraction of you who are at the point where I can help you will come to me because they've gotten value from my content and be like, oh, I want to work with you. And then in turn, I get money for working with that person. Okay, hear me out. Once I have money, I have resources. Once I have resources, I can take care of myself. Okay. And once I have resources, I can take care of other people. And that leads me closer to reproduction. Does that make sense? And that's not a conscious decision most of the time. So this is because finding the path of least resistance will actually save energy and in turn provide a higher chance of survival, leading to reproduction. Okay. So like I said, in the savannah, energy was scarce. We try to do things in the most energy conserving way possible so that we don't have to let out a bunch of energy and, just die of starvation, because people died of starvation. So there were mechanisms within our bodies to conserve energy, to give us a chance of living longer, to actually be able to pass on our genes and have a chance of meeting a mate. Like evolutionarily, we were meant to just like sit under a few trees, go hunt maybe a boar here and there, go eat some fruit and just like roam around a little bit. Okay. We weren't meant to squat 800 pounds. We were like little runners. Okay. So the least resistance will save energy and in turn provide a higher chance of survival And then if you have a higher chance of survival, you have a higher chance of living longer, and then that leads to a higher chance of reproduction. Okay, so think about the biggest drivers of dopamine: sex, or even porn; resources, which is food, money, or like material objects; social status. So social status could be like you walk into a room and everyone knows who you are. That's a massive driver of dopamine. Each of these directly relate to a higher chance of reproduction. Okay, if you have food, chance of living longer. If you have money, you can buy food, you can buy status. Okay, that money leads to status. Money, social status will lead to sex. Okay, so having these directly relate to a higher chance of reproduction. So everything we do leads to reproduction. So I'm going to connect this back. So, for example, a kid says, I want to make $1 million. And then you say, okay, why do you want to make $1 million? Because I want to be able to buy a nice car. Why do you want to buy a nice car? Because I want status. Okay, why do you want status? Because I want women to admire me and men want to be me. Okay, why do you want that? Because once women like me, I can have a better shot at reproducing. So this is the example. Okay, I'm sure you guys get this at this point. This can be done with literally any goal or desire. Another word for something that gives me dopamine. Okay, any goal or desire. So desire is just something that gives you dopamine, and anything that gives you dopamine is something that leads to a higher chance of reproduction. So I want to drill this into your mind, okay? Because when we're coming back to this with the dream outcome, with the value, these lead to higher chance of reproduction. So value is you selling a higher chance of them, okay? Subconsciously having a higher chance of reproducing, okay? So dream outcome. Perceived likelihood of actually achieving, effort and sacrifice, conserving energy, time delay, conserving energy. Okay, so it's kind of interesting to go through this from an evolutionary point of view, because each of these factors can be illustrated using the evolutionary psychology model above. Value is an expression of the odds of you getting someone closer to reproduction pleasure, okay, and away from pain, which is not pleasure, which is the opposite of pleasure. It is wasting energy, okay, in the most energy conserving way possible. So each factor, when optimized, leads to this simple fact right here. I'm going to highlight this because this is important. More for less. Humans are selfish. Humans want their own genes to be passed on. They want to get more for less. That's always what's going to happen. Capitalism, like everyone always wants more for less, more for less. I want more money and I want to put less effort. I want more muscle and I want to put less effort. I want to lose more weight and I want to put less effort. Okay. So let's take an example of this using the Amy example that we were using before. Okay. So if we take Amy, for example, she's using, let's say, an online fitness coach. Okay. So she's using, let's say your name's Bob and Bob's an online fitness coach. Okay. The dream outcome is to lose 50 pounds. The perceived likelihood of achievement is low because, she has really bad discipline. She can't really commit to things, and she's not really good with following a meal plan and going to the gym. Okay. The time delay to lose that 50 pounds is 3 months. Okay. The effort and sacrifice is 3 months of consistent pain. She cannot eat the food she loves. She has to go to the gym and exert tons of energy. Okay. So that's Amy's example using the online fitness coach. So think about this from a point of value. Do you think this has a lot of value in terms of like what you're providing with this? Okay. And then let's say Amy example using Ozempic. So dream outcome is lose 50 pounds. Perceived likelihood of achievement is high because you just take a shot. Time delay is 3 months. So it's the same time and it's the same dream outcome. Okay. Effort and sacrifice. She just has to do a little bit of pain. She doesn't like needles, but she doesn't care too much. A little bit of pain when she's taking the needle. And she takes the needle once a week. It's over in 10 minutes. Done. Okay. Not even 5 minutes. Boom. So whoever can provide the most amount of value using the factors above will win no matter what, okay? So if you can optimize your dream outcome, optimize the perceived likelihood of achievement, and limit your time delay and effort and sacrifice, you're going to win. And you can see that with the market examples that I gave you before, okay? So I went through a lot here, and I hope this kind of makes sense so far together with this process of how to understand markets and how to understand why certain markets actually, have more value and what that value actually is from an evolutionary standpoint. Because end of day, people want to conserve energy and they want, I highlighted it, they want more for less. More for less. It's just basic selfishness. I want more for less. Just how humans are. You cannot get mad at that. You just have to accept that fact. Okay? Cool. So now we're going to move into pretty much a critical insight in that I kind of personally realized as well. So competition is for losers. This is a Peter Thiel quote. If you don't know who Peter Thiel is the founder of PayPal. And he talks a lot about competition. He actually has this video on YouTube. I recommend you guys to watch. About an hour-long video on competition. But pretty much he talks about competition, and I derived a personal insight from this as well. Okay, so rather than trying to compete on the things that are merely impossible to compete on, compete with the factors you can win with. Okay, so I truly believe that the best way to compete within the realm of human connection. So there's a specific way to position yourself to win using human connection, which I'll show you here. Okay, so this is a critical insight that I got in the fitness industry. Because, for example, I'm going to run you guys through this a little bit here, but think about personal trainers that work in person one-to-one. They derive their client success from human connection that they're having with their clients. It's not because their process loses weight faster, or it's easier than Ozempic, or it's easier than supplements, or it's like a better process than Ozempic or whatever. Or it's a higher percentage of losing the weight. It could potentially even be a lower percentage. It's the human connection that they're competing with. Okay, so for example, 60% of people that go to the gym have admitted that they don't go for the equipment, but rather to socialize. In fact, so this is a stat that I got from online. Okay, so a lot of people coming back up to this value, they're trying to compete with, like, let's say, scroll back up, big pharma and big nutrition companies, and trying to make this massive supplement brand. And they're trying to compete on certain things that they just simply can't win with. So if you're an online fitness coach and you're even a gym member or a gym owner, what you have to think about is not trying to compete on things that you can lose with, but trying to compete on things that you can win with. Okay, so you're trying to do things that you actually have a shot at competing with. You're not going to beat big pharma on time delay and effort and sacrifice. Like you're never going to make, I'm sorry, but you're never going to make a gym where someone goes in and it's easier than popping a pill. It's never going to happen. Okay, I'm sorry, it's never going to happen unless you just do it yourself, unless you switch to it. Okay, so you have to know the game you're playing before you're even playing it. Okay, and the best way to compete is to compete within the realm of human connection. Because take a supplement brand, for example. They are not successful. They are successful because they have mastered the value equation. Okay, they've done this. But people get a lot of value from social, going to the gym and meeting people and going one-on-one and connection, human connection. So if you're a gym owner, if you're a personal trainer, you're not selling the dream outcome. You're not selling and competing on that realm. You're competing with something that these other supplement companies, that these other fitness providers can compete with, which is human connection. And if you're an online fitness coach, this is the best way to actually win, is within the realm of human connection, because you can actually win within that realm. Okay? So you're going to have to know the game you're playing before you're even playing it. And the best way to compete is within the realm of human connection. It's the only, if you're not going to play the game, why are you going to, you have to play to win. Okay? And this is the only way to win. You're not going to win against a supplement company, competing on time delay or competing on effort and sacrifice. I'm sorry. Okay? So, for example, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about AI as well, because this really interests me in terms of competition as well. Okay, so I want you guys to understand this. So during the introduction, so this is just a side tangent that I'm going to make about AI, relating it back to this. Okay, so during the introduction of cloud-based softwares, several billion-dollar companies were created. Same with mobile apps. Okay, so cloud-based software. So as you can see, cloud-based created mobile. Okay, and over the 10 to 15 years, like over here, this AI section, which is ChatGPT, NVIDIA, some other stuff. When we were going from this cloud time, I guess, to this mobile time, there was a lot of billion-dollar companies that were created, like Spotify, Meta, Snapchat, whatever, Uber. And then now with AI, we have not a lot of companies, but over 10 to 15 years, this AI section is going to look like the mobile section. Okay? And if you compare AI to, for example, SaaS, okay? SaaS over 10 years got to $3 billion revenue annual, and AI, it took a year, 2 years. Okay? So the AI industry in the last 1.5 years has destroyed the SaaS, software as a service industry growth. So this is the amount of growth. This amount of growth in such little time is unheard of. Okay. So again, a lot of you guys are trying to compete on other things. You're trying to, like I said up here, you're trying to provide this awesome service, awesome mechanism, okay, that a software is going to be able to provide with AI. Okay. That it's a very competitive landscape, and you have to know your place. Okay. So even just looking at AI, like AI is going to take over a lot of people. So many people are trying to neglect this level of rapid growth by just saying this is a trend, it will be gone in 2 years. For example, in the early 2000s, everyone was doubting the new wave of internet companies. They were saying the same things mentioned today regarding AI. They were like, oh, the dot-com bubble was happening, and they were like, oh, it's just the internet is, it's going to be gone in 5 years. It's going to be gone in a year, right? And then the dot-com bubble bursted, and then people, a lot of capital dried up. People were like, oh, it was right all along, And then 25 years later, people spend like 7 hours a day on average on the internet, watch movies, social media, etc. Average American is 7 hours a day on screens. It's just nuts, okay? So in 1 year, AI will be more creative than the average person. In 5 years, AI will be more intelligent and creative than all humans collectively. AI will transform everything we do, know, and use. I kid you not, in 10 years, our current modern society will be massively different. Human connection will always sell, even amidst this AI uprising period of instability. Okay? So this is the point that I'm trying to drive to you guys. So yeah, I have a longer video. If you go on my page and look up AI, just look up AI Ashton Hunter on YouTube. But I have a longer video kind of going through this. But for example, you're not going to compete with some sort of software mechanism for fitness programming, okay, that can be replaced by AI in a year. Okay? You're not going to compete by providing an effort and sacrifice gym that just competes on effort and sacrifice with all the supplement companies that I showed above, okay, and all these pharmaceutical companies and Ozempic. No. Or gallbladder surgery. Like, you get a gallbladder surgery once, and that's it. A lot of people don't actually lose weight with them, but like, that's it. Doctor prescribes it. You do it, go into the doctor's office, you pay $6,000. Insurance covers it easy. Bye-bye. Done. Right? So you're not going to compete, and you have to understand what you're competing on. Okay? So human connection will always sell, even amidst the AI uprising, even amidst AI, even amidst all of this rapid growth, even amidst pharmaceutical stuff. Compete on human connection, because this is what's going to sell. It is always sold. It's always going to be there. Humans are always going to want to connect with other humans. Ancient Rome, when we were cavemen, okay? Like, humans always connect with humans. No matter what era, go back. A business model is not going to be around for 2,000 years, okay? These headphones, which emit sound that I put on my ears, headphones didn't exist 50 years ago. Okay, a microphone, which is right here on my desk, that didn't exist 50 years ago. Even fucking coffee wasn't around 10,000 years ago. Human connection has always been around since humans have existed. Okay, so I'm gonna now run you guys through how to sell human connection. Okay, and actually the processes of selling human connection. So I hope at this point we've gone through quite a bit. We've gone through what value is. We've gone through how value is created. We've gone through the general scope of the market, okay, with what companies are killing it, when companies aren't, the direction. I know it's kind of nihilistic. It's a little bit nihilistic when you look at these pharmaceutical companies, these supplement companies, and then you're a little fitness coach making $2K a month, $3K a month, it's a little bit nihilistic because you're like, ah, shit, these massive companies are just killing me and taking people who want the same dream outcome away from me. Okay. So now we're going to actually run into how to compete and how to win with human connection. Okay. Because we're not in this game to lose. We're in this game to actually win and actually be a driving force for that. Okay. So we're going to jump into actually how to do that. Okay. So how to actually go about putting together this process and actually selling this effectively. Okay. So I'm going to walk you guys through. This is going to be a very complex breakdown. So pay attention to this part because this is going to be very complex. And I'm going to go into specific detail, okay? So the purpose of running a business is to identify and validate a profitable business unit case and a resulting model that duplicates that profitable unit case as quickly as possible. In other words, a business that can most efficiently validate its processes in which it creates profits will always win. The bottleneck for most lies in the process of actually finding and validating the process to create profits. Okay, so the scientific method in this training is going to focus on creating a profitable cash-producing unit case in the quickest, most capital-efficient way possible. Okay, so I use this process to this day and have made multiple six figures of profit, and it only took me less than a year. So I'm going to run you guys through how to actually create this cash-producing unit case and win. So the concept is that entrepreneurs fail, okay, not because they can't build products, determine markets, market their products, or price their products, but because they can't conduct these activities in the wrong order and run out of money before they get traction. Okay? So they need to validate their processes in the right order, and they actually have to understand and gain insights from that. People just like throw shit at a wall, expect it to stick. It doesn't work like that. You can do that long enough, maybe you'll get some success, but we're trying to scientifically take an approach here. Okay? So these are the factors within your business. And if you're a fitness coach, if you're a gym owner, I need you to think of these factors with exactly what your model is about. Okay, so business is made of your niche, so who you're helping. Your transformation is what they're getting. Your price, so the price the niche is willing to pay for the transformation. The mechanism, which is used to get the transformation. And then the access channel is how those people figure out about your transformation, price, and mechanism. Okay? So if you combine all these together, if you combine everything here, you have a business. And that's pretty much what we're figuring out, which order to put these in, which ones need to be focused on more than others, how to put these together, okay? How do you win with that, etc. Okay? So using the process above, it's important to realize that the niche is always solved for first. Then the transformation, then the price, then the access channel, then the price, then the mechanism, then the access channel. Okay? So you have to follow this order. Okay? And you have to validate each individually. So the price the market is willing to pay for the transformation is completely independent of the mechanism used to deliver the transformation. In other words, the customer doesn't care how he gets results. He simply wants the results. Okay? I don't care how you cut my hair, if it's with scissors or if it's with a vacuum, whatever, the vacuum cutter. I just want it to look like this photo that I just showed you, Mr. Barber. Okay? The technology or process involved in the mechanism is bound by the price the customer is willing to pay for the solution. Okay? You wouldn't use a rocket ship to get your children to their soccer game. The access channel is dependent on the mechanism, meaning you wouldn't use a direct sales team and $100,000 in ad spend to sell fruits on the side of a road in New Mexico. Okay? So each of these kind of fold with the other factors. I hope this kind of makes sense here. Okay? So what are the general steps to put these together? So number one, market identification and validation. So you have to solve for each of these. So your market, so niche, your transformation, and your price. Whoops. Your niche, your transformation, and your price. Solve for NTP. Okay? And then you have to solve for the mechanism used to deliver. And then you have to solve for the access channel to actually get people into that human connection, like I said before. So if it's Facebook ads, TikTok organic, if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, if it's this, if it's that, if it's going on the side of the road and asking people, going door to door, whatever. What is the best access channel? You have to validate all of these, okay? So the market is validated when a specific person has agreed to pay money for a specific transformation. The mechanism does not have to exist at this point. Okay. So, for example, when I was, for example, like, if you're starting a business, you don't have to go around and create this massive thing, your mechanism, your access channel. You just have to go around and say, hey, you don't even have to get a customer. You could just ask people, hey, you are this niche. Do you want this transformation for this price? Would you pay that? And then you ask 100 people, you get 100 points of data. Maybe 40 say, yeah, that would be interesting. Okay, maybe there's some fit there. Okay, so you have to validate your market by seeing and validating first if there's a fit there, because value that they're paying is equal in proportion to the dream outcome and the value, like I said before. Okay, and then the mechanism is validated when the promise is delivered and positive contribution is realized. So that means you have profit, meaning the things actually gets results for the customers. So if you're a fitness coach, is your mechanism actually getting people results? Are they actually losing weight? Are they actually gaining muscle? Are they actually happier? Okay. And then the access channel is validated when after marketing, you can sustain a profitable return on ad spend or return on investment. So let's say I put $100 into Facebook ads. Am I getting $1,000 back from that? If let's say I put $1,000 into a vending machine, that vending machine spits me back out $5,000. Okay, that makes sense. I'll just keep feeding it into that vending machine. Okay, so that's how you validate your access channel. And consider this personal anecdote myself. So this process is when I was actually first starting my company. So when I was first starting my business, I was really focused on product. I was like, product, mechanism. I want to do all these things. I want to build this mechanism. I want to build this product, etc. And I spent the longest time figuring out exactly what the best approach was. I literally spent 6 months watching trainings, taking courses, figuring out how to fulfill before I even had clients. I was so focused on onboarding funnels. I was so focused on how to run ads. I was so focused on having softwares that were billing me monthly when I didn't even have any clients yet. I was so focused on all of these. Okay. And then upon completion, I began marketing. So I finished my product and then I started to market my product and I tried to sell my product. I spent the longest time doing cold outbound, doing all these things like, I was literally doing cold calls. I was doing cold DMs. I was doing cold emails. I was doing all this stuff. Okay. But my message and offer were not resonating with my prospects and my revenue was low. I tried giving away the product for a much discounted rate. Right. And then I got a few people who were like kind of pity buyers. I remember I dropped my price from like 1,000 to like 150. And I got a few people who were like, this kid's trying. Here's a little bit of money. And they obviously don't follow the program, but they're just like, And this was a total waste of time on my behalf. I wasted over 8 months trying to make this system that wasn't validated. I then had a specific day where I knew nothing was working. I restarted and did things with the following process. So I had a day, I remember I was doing everything. I was like doing some cold outbound. I was getting people on calls, getting people on those calls. And then they were just like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm good. Right. And nothing was working. It was just so annoying. And then I knew I had to kind of restart. So I understood the market validation process. And before trying to build and this massive product mechanism, whatever, I just went out and sold because I learned my market's problems and ranked them based on relative urgency. So I learned the problems. I then decided to solve the market's most urgent problem. And before building anything, I demanded $5,000 up front to solve it. Okay, so I have some cash flow in there. Once I had a handful of clients, I then took over 1 to 2 months. So once I had I think it was 5 clients that paid me. I then took over 1 to 2 months to build and deliver the solution without taking on any new clients. So I took on, I didn't take on clients for 1 to 2 months. Then I built the solution, built the mechanism, etc., based on the data that I got from selling. Okay, I collected case studies that then validated my process even more. I approached a few other similar businesses in the same niche with a similar problem, presented the first case study. Similar business was happily, cool to pay $70,000 up front. Then within the first few months of doing this, I went from struggling to hit 10K a month, having 10K days. So rather than making the fatal mistake of building the mechanism before validating the market, okay, receiving, and this is a big one, you receive lots of positive enforcement from your family. Oh, Jimmy, great job. Okay. But you have no cash from customers. Okay. Instead of doing that, I focused on finding demand and ensuring that there was an urgent problem and a viable solution to said problem before anything. Okay. So I went out and I wasted 8 months building this massive product when I didn't even know what my market wanted. So if you're building this massive thing, if you're building this back end, if you're trying to, go out and make all this content, if you're trying to start a YouTube channel, that's great, but you don't really know what your market wants yet. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to pick your market and go find out what they want. Okay. Go talk to them. Go have 100 conversations and then come back to me. Okay. Because honestly, you don't know what your market wants until you ask them. So also notice that the case studies have a positive correlation with marketing and revenue. In other words, without any case studies or social proof, marketing won't work. Also, rather than picking something and going, I decided to pick the best option, which netted the most profits, not the bottom of the market or a lower segment of the market. This is a big one. Okay, let's say you're helping people, let's say you're helping businesses organize their QuickBooks. Let's say you're helping a business organizing their QuickBooks. You come in and you do some accounting stuff and you help them organize their QuickBooks. Okay. That's one option. Option number 2 is you come into a business and help them get more customers. Okay. Which one of these problems would a business pay more for you to do? Obviously getting more customers. Okay. So the best option, which you can charge the most for. So I needed to ensure that before making large financial decisions, such as spending $5,000 a month on paid traffic, I had a reserve of cash accrued, viable offer market, everything was validated before I started to blow cash and figure it out. Okay? So the entire point of me going through this with you, just talk about Skool, Ashton. Just talk about Skool. Talk about Skool. How do you start a Skool community? How do you run Facebook ads? Okay, cool. Go do that. Go spend money on Facebook ads and make $0 back. But you have to realize that your niche, your transformation, your price, your mechanism, and your access channel, these 5 things, you're constantly validating all the time. And you're never going to not have them fully validated because the market's always changing. Okay. So you're going to have to constantly be shifting what you're doing. Okay. Some more than others. Like you're not going to shift your niche every week, obviously, but you're going to want to try different things and obviously talk to the market, validate things, and figure out what works and what doesn't work. One of my mentors tells me this. He says, if you have a conversation with someone, if you have a conversation with a prospect, and they say, I'm not interested, figure out why they're not interested. Don't just be like, okay, fuck you then, bye-bye. Figure out what is the reason that they're not interested. What would be the reason that would make them more interested? Figure these things out, because every conversation you have should bring you closer to some sort of realization, some sort of insight into what your market wants, what your market doesn't want. Okay? And then actually how to find those people with your access channel, your mechanism, etc. Okay? So when you're starting your Skool community, when you're selling human connection, okay? When you're selling this, you're going to have to package it to a specific person with a specific transformation and claim, with a specific price that they're willing to pay, with a mechanism. So like, how do you deliver that human connection through Skool, obviously through other things, and then the access channel. Okay. And you're not going to figure this out by putting it together once and just running it. Okay. I'm not going to say that if you do that, you're going to get success with it. You're probably not. You're going to have to play with the price. Oh, people are not willing to pay $300 a month. Okay. Maybe I should charge $150. Oh, okay. People are resonating with this more because they see the value. Okay. Oh, people want to spend $300 a month. What if I charge $1,000 a month? Oh, people say, people are getting value from it. Maybe I could charge $3,000 a month. Okay. So you have to understand this. You have to always be validating and identifying these things within your business. Okay. And constantly be in this validation point. Okay. So these are my general insights. These are kind of my closing remarks on how to put together the Skool community, how to go about this process, okay? Because I've done this over 20 times, probably more, and here's how to actually do it. And here's how to make this really freaking good. So here's the action steps. This is what you've been waiting for, okay? So number one, your community is an asset. So companies aren't valued based on followers or likes. Companies are built off of assets. Building this asset will yield a much greater return than focusing on producing. Production versus production capabilities, okay? So for example, if you take a balance sheet, this is Apple's balance sheet, the valuation of a company, if you even try to sell your company, is based off of its assets minus liabilities, okay? So if you have assets, which is like your community is an asset, okay? The amount of likes you have isn't an asset. The amount of followers you have isn't an asset, okay? Building this asset will yield a much greater return. So I'm going to highlight this because this is probably the most important point in this. Like, a lot of people overlook this, and this kind of has built my entire company. I read this book, 7 Habits, Highly Effective People, really good book. But pretty much what he talks about in this book is you have to focus not on producing. You can't focus on producing. You have to focus on the system and production capabilities, production capacity. Focus on making the system good that produces, not just on producing. Okay? Cool. Number 2, this asset is not just an asset for you, it is an asset for your customers. So this is a big point as well. Okay? So people are like super selfish, like I said up above. Selfish. I want to just make money for myself. This is an asset for your customers. This is good. Okay? It can be used as a sales asset for yourself, obviously, as a marketing asset. Okay? But it's an asset that your customers can obtain. Like, people like to hold things. It's just human brain thing. It's just how we work. Like, I want to hold, this is my coffee mug. I hold my coffee mug, and it's a physical object. It's an asset. I own it. I own my phone. I own my laptop. I own these things. It's an asset. It's within my life. It's not like fluff. Okay? It's not, oh, here's this. Here's this random access to this random software. No. This is an asset that you have. You own this now. Okay? You're paying for the asset. Okay? And this is what customers do value this. And this is a very big point. This is what I actually built a lot of my company off of, as well as, rather than me, just providing a service, production, I'm going to give you an asset that you can produce with. Okay? So it can also be used as a sales asset when obtaining clients. So it's a marketing asset. I'm running this with a few clients as well, where we just run ads to a Skool community. Paid ads work great for this. Okay? And then this is a big point as well. So number 3 is when you're starting a free community. So starting a free community will yield 1,000 times more returns than jumping directly into a paid community. So I'm sure a lot of you, if you're made it to the point where you're watching with me here, a lot of you probably have thought about starting a paid community before. You're just like, oh, what if I just start a community and charge $20 a month, and I have 8,000 people paying me $20,000 a month, which is 1% of my audience. It's like, shut the hell up. Please shut up. Please shut up. Okay? It's super dumb. It's super dumb because a community isn't something that you make $100,000 from. It's a stepping stone to a high ticket offer. Okay? It is a stepping stone to a high ticket offer. So I'm going to show you this. Okay? And this is my Skool model. This is how I've made $150,000 a month for one of my clients. Okay? So in marketing, we have a few different things. So we have the top of the funnel, which is general awareness. We have the middle of the funnel, which is like, oh, I'm actively pursuing interest. Bottom of the funnel, where it's like I book a call, I am going and showing up to the call, and then collecting cash. So I don't know who you are. I know who you are. I'm interested. I book a call. I collect cash. I buy. That's just the marketing process. It's a funnel. So more people are aware versus more people are aware than more people have bought. Okay, it's a funnel. It goes inwards. Okay. And what happens is people are just trying to sell their top of the funnel. They're trying to just sell the top of the funnel, which is so dumb. They're selling the top of the funnel. Okay. They're just saying, oh, I'm going to sell my my $20 a month to my 1% of my audience, and I have 50,000 followers on Instagram. Oh my God, oh my God, 1% is going to buy. Only 1% is. Shut up. Please shut up. Please shut up. Okay? You're not going to make money selling the top of the funnel. You're making money selling the bottom of the funnel. And if you are going to do a Skool community, okay, and you are selling human connection, you are going to make a free Skool community with, let me scroll up a little bit, with, for your niche, for transformation, with your mechanism, with a free price. It's totally free. Okay? It's totally free. Come in, get some value. They're going to get value from that. They're going to have some sort of reciprocity towards you now. Okay? And then you're going to invite them to get more help. Okay? Hey, you joined the free community. Are you interested in getting more help? Okay? And then this is going to get people to a higher ticket offer. Something that's priced between $2,000 and $7,000. I would go $7,000 because don't be a pussy. Okay? $7,000 you're going to charge for that, or $2,000 to $7,000. Okay, for that high ticket offer. Okay, so instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm going to make recurring money and do free Skool community where my churn is high, so many people are leaving, I'm going to just do this process," that's not the way to win. I'm sorry, that is not the way to win. That's not the way to win. You are going to have a high ticket process where in that high ticket service, you are going to win. So, for example, there's bottlenecks that happen throughout this process. So a lot of people don't know how to get traffic to their free Skool community. A lot of people don't know how to get people from their free Skool community, or just people who don't know who you, or people who join and give you their contact information to get people on a call. And people, once they're on a call, don't really know how to collect cash on a call or close a cold person. Oh, these leads suck. I can't close people. Yeah, because you suck at sales. Okay. So what I did is I put together a video down below, where I pretty much break down the specific offer for your high ticket service. Okay. So if you watch this, you're like, okay, I know that I need to put together a free Skool community. I know that I need to do that for free with my niche, with my transformation, with my mechanism. Okay. And okay, I'm going to do that. But then how do I get people to the next step? And how do I even sell them a high ticket service? What is my high ticket offer? Okay, because that's where you're going to make 90% of your money. You don't want to be making your money on the front end, $20 high churn, annoying people, whatever. You don't want to do that. Okay, you want a lot of people. You want less people paying you a lot of money. Okay, so if you want to know how to put together that offer, go down. I have a pinned video right below this video on how to put together that offer. It's going to run you through everything you're going to need to put it together. And then that should give you a lot of insight into how to actually go about it. Okay? So I hope this video gave you value. I hope you got some personal insight from this process. And remember this, the rate of your growth is determined by your learning and your action. A lot of people, they'll learn a lot of stuff, but they won't take action. So if you have made it this far and you haven't taken action, you will not grow. I can guarantee you that. So go ahead, watch my video pinned below on how to offer and what to offer it, okay, for that high ticket service, so you can actually get some cash and actually not be just like a little 10K a monther and actually make 10K a monther. I'm gonna pin that. It's gonna be a new title, okay? A little 10K a monther. Don't be a little 10K a monther. Be 150K a monther, and how to actually get there yourself, okay? Thanks guys for watching. I appreciate you guys.